Yeah. Did you try jerking off?
All the time, honestly, it helps.
Cause that's like my first go-to. If I feel sad and if I jerk off,
that's your first go-to.
It's a nice little reset.
And then if I go, oh I'm still sad, something's wrong.
And that's my very, very royalty-free music.
That's
go for it. Go for it. Also royalty-free. And welcome back to Hot Seat Part 2 with Hannah. Everybody make some noise.
Yay, Hannah!
All right. Wait, where's the, can we get the dick pic up real quick?
Nah, dude, we're gonna get demonetized.
Okay, just keep it right there. It's just more for inspiration.
I just like to see it out of the corner of my eye.
So if you explain, Nick, why we have to do a round 2, what would it be?
Because we only talked about Hannah and her relationship with Joe. So now this time we get to do part 2 and talk more about you as an individual.
Yeah, you spent all that time last time talking about British shit and then how I'm not gonna say anything.
With less interruptions from Joe is the intention.
But it started in the wrong direction already.
Yeah, totally.
We want to know more about Hannah.
Tell us about who you are as a person.
As a person?
Sum it up right now.
I mean, to start with a cold one.
I know.
Okay, if you were your own aunt and you're trying to hook yourself up, or you're trying to hook your niece up, who is you, with a
Japanese guy.
Nice, obviously.
How would you introduce her? Like, how would you describe her and summarize her?
Well, if we go in there, good genetics, good breeding stock. Very fertile family, So, you've got those options for the future. No medical issues, no allergies.
That's how you describe yourself?
If you're trying to sell me to something.
Let her finish, dude.
Okay, all right.
I'm already sold.
He would be.
Yeah.
Good breeding stock.
Yeah. Very fertile family, very fertile.
They're pretty fertile.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. Let's warm it up a little bit.
Okay.
What's a guilty pleasure of yours?
Guilty pleasure?
Besides eating in bed.
Don't even get me started. Hurts my soul that I can't eat in bed. Guilty pleasure? Honestly, it was probably when I first started eating meat again. I didn't tell anybody. I felt really bad about it.
Really? Why'd you feel like you needed to tell someone?
Because, so a lot of my friends were also vegetarian or vegan. I had 2 friends that ran like a vegan podcast.
Whoa.
Family members that are vegetarian, vegan. Yeah.
They're all doing it too. It's fine.
I don't know, but I felt so guilty. And I would be saying to him, like, don't catch me on camera eating meat. Yeah. Because I was so worried about what people would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then eventually we went out, one of my friends came to LA and we went out for dinner and she was like...
You went to a steakhouse.
And didn't realize it.
Fat steak, I was like, oh shit. No, it's vegan, it's fake. Yeah, and then after that, it just all came out. My mum actually called me one time and was like, are you eating meat now? Because this has been like a decade of no meat.
Tell everyone when you became vegetarian.
When I was like 11.
See?
What made you want to be vegetarian at 11?
We were in school and they showed us a video of an abattoir.
What the hell's that?
When they kill the animals. Like
a slaughterhouse.
Slaughterhouse, yeah, and they're like...
That's like the executor of the animal.
Can't show that to Asians. They'll just go,
That happens in Rosemead.
I know, I was traumatized and I went home and then the whole class went vegetarian, but I was the only person that stuck to it.
Really?
Oh, wow. Damn, you got the commitment.
Also, like, everyone made me feel so bad about it. Like, my brothers made fun of me so bad for it that just to spite them, I had to keep going.
vegetarian out of pride.
Yeah, I couldn't let it go.
20 years, holy shit.
Are these older brothers?
Yeah, and then even when I stopped, like when I was 18, I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this. And they roasted the shit out of me because I suggested that I didn't want to be a vegetarian anymore. Suggested it.
And then you're like, well, fuck it.
And then they became one.
Now they're vegan.
What?
And they start telling me how I should be eating. Wow. Cheek of it, yeah.
The
That's my
cheek
guilty
of it.
pleasure.
What did you aspire to be as a kid?
Different things. I'll get there one day.
When you're like in elementary, like 8 years old, what did you go, I'm gonna grow up and be this?
Pretty much what I ended up doing, just designing. Like I always knew I wanted to do something in design or art, and then I did that. I'm quite like a tunnel vision person. Like that's the only option, so I just did that.
So what did you design?
Costumes mostly.
How did you get into costuming?
By lying, honestly. So I was making, like, designing and making stuff for myself, and then I had like a few shops that would sell it, but it was very like an isolated thing. So I said I want to go into costume. It's like more social. There's more going on. So the first place I just sent them like a bunch of stuff that I'd made, and they were like, sure, they gave me a job. Then I went to London and I was working at a theatre there, just making costumes, doing whatever. And one of the producer's girlfriends did like film stuff. And she said to me, oh, do you do costume for film? And I just said, yes. Never done it. Figured I'd work it out. Like, how different can it be? And so she was like, oh, cool, my friend's a director. And then she got me a job on this film. It was the first one I ever did.
How different did it end up being?
Oh, it was bad. I'm not going to lie.
Why? What was the deal?
Because I think the difference with stage is that, like, it's from a distance. So everything's just the silhouette and the color.
The detail really matters.
Yeah, everything's in the detail. Everything's in, like, the first time I saw them do like a close-up headshot and I could see all the problems.
Oh.
I was like,
Were you the only one who saw the problems, or did the director also see the problems and was like, fuck this?
oh, I didn't ask.
I mean, yeah, if there's no problem, nobody's voicing it, why would I ask?
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
I remember saying there was one thing where the girl was like, it just didn't like fit properly. Like, you could tell around the thing, and I was like, oh, but you know, I think it's her character, because she's kind of crazy. She's a single mom. She's got all these kids.
Yeah, it's canon. Yeah.
It was a creative choice, and they were like, oh no, I can see that. I was like, yes.
Make all the other costumes look like that then. I like that.
Yeah. So that was like on purpose. I was like, oh.
We've got a hand raised over here.
Oh yeah, what do you want, baby?
You need to stop glossing over juicy details. Okay, go ahead. What?
What's the juicy detail? What's the juicy detail?
You just went straight from, oh, I had a couple of shops, and then I went to London.
Yeah.
There's more meaning in between. You went there like a homeless gypsy fucking with a backpack on your back, and you went to London by yourself. You didn't just do this because people think, oh, what a fucking rich girl. Daddy probably fucking did that shit for her. No, you were a homeless.
Exactly what I was thinking. Glad you clarified.
Thank you.
Yeah, I went down to London. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have jobs or nothing like that.
Why did you go to London?
I felt like I was running away a little bit.
Why? From what?
That was a juicy detail.
Yeah. I was very stuck in my head, like quite an anxious person, very tightly wound. And I'd had like a bad year with that, with like mental health and like all that kind of stuff. And as I was coming out the other end of it, it's very difficult to snap yourself out of a headspace when you're with the same surrounding. So it's easier to just completely remove yourself, put yourself somewhere different, and pretend that's fixed the problem. Whereas if you stay in the same environment and you're looking at the same things, you actually have to deal with the issue. Whereas if you put yourself somewhere else, you can just pretend that it's all better. Yeah, so that's why I went to London. Is that better?
No, I'll tell you the story.
Jeez.
Take over by Joe.
I had a fucking mental breakdown. I didn't leave the house for a goddamn year, and I said, you know what? This bitch is getting out of bed, packing my shit, and I'm going to London because I need to do something with my life. And then you fucking had a suitcase, and then you went in with no friends, nothing. You went into a hostel, and then you started building yourself up, found a job. Now that's a fucking story. You don't have to tell stories.
So I had a mental breakdown-ish. I didn't leave the house for 3 weeks, not a year.
How does a British girl cry?
How does a British girl cry? Silently.
Oh.
And with guilt.
It's not like, oh no, oh no, oh no.
It's not like,
Yeah.
Oh heaven.
It's just one single tear, and then the queen behind you rubbing your back.
R.I.P. R.I.P. And there's a fucking Queen's Guard just standing there.
Just waiting.
Boo-hoo. What was the moment that caused the mental breakdown of you just crying and like?
I think because I'm like introverted, if I'm not forced to be social, I don't. So I think I was just too alone, too isolated, too stuck in my head. And because I was like self-employed and working a lot on my own, it gives you too much opportunity to like lean into the anxiety. Whereas if you're constantly forced to be with people and you have other things coming in, it's kind of easier to get pulled out of your own head. Yeah. Whereas if you're just like sat in a studio, like
You're on an island though.
yeah. And then it's just so easy just to lean into it. So unless you're like very self-aware and can see yourself leaning in and pull yourself out, you just keep leaning in until it's like too late.
And then what were your thoughts then? Were you like, fuck, what am I doing with my life? Or like, what were the things that felt like I was caving in?
Honestly, got to a point I really remembered it, and this was after I was in London actually. So I didn't really live in one place. So there was about 4 or 5 years where technically I was living in Liverpool, but I was like traveling for jobs and doing different things. So I was like moving around a lot, and I was like lying in the bed, and I should say like this is like dark.
Yeah.
Is this okay? Right.
That's the juicy
But
stuff.
just for people like, so this isn't like a good mentality to have. This is like a bad, like this.
You know
isn't-
where you take
This
them?
isn't advice.
No, but you get to the good part by showing them how it could go so fucking
Illegal
wrong.
coaching.
The come up is
then you
what we
take it
want to
out.
see.
Illegal coaching.
All right.
But for people watching who care about me too, like a lot of people, this isn't like a thing that I talked about with people, but
Everybody cares.
so I was like lying in bed, right? Insomniac, couldn't sleep. And I had this thought that I was like, am I gonna have to live in this brain for the next 65 years? And that was like so scary to me. I was like, I'm either dealing with this or I'm opting out. So like everything after that was like almost like religiously geared towards moving myself out of that headspace and then trying to get into a better one. Literally just because in my mind I was like, 65 years of this is brutal. That's just not happening. That wasn't an option. So I kind of lined out the options I had, the last one being professional help, which is where I think I made the mistake, because I do think actually you probably should go straight to professional help, usually.
But that was in the pussy category, or?
That was in the like, if I can't deal with this alone,
Oh.
yeah, then that's like the progression it would have to go to, yeah. But I just did research, man. I read books, went online, did as much as I could, like compiled it. But I think even to get to that point, you have to be some way out of the darkness. Because I think if you're caught up in it bad, you're not even thinking.
You're not gonna apply yourself in anything. Yeah.
So I think I would have already pulled myself a little bit out of it before I got to that point. Yeah. Better?
No.
Oh, okay.
He wants dark.
You said dark. There's nothing. You didn't
There's so
describe.
many
That
rewrites.
sounded very nice and light.
You didn't describe what dark was. What does that look like? You warned everyone and you were like, be careful for the darkness. And then there's nothing dark to be worried about.
I think that having the mentality of fix it or opt out is not good advice. That's where my brain was.
What's opted
Yeah.
out?
Oh,
Like,
are
kill
you talking
yourself?
like opt out?
Yeah. That was like my mentality.
Oh.
I'm trying not to say it because then it'll get flagged.
Okay.
You guys didn't get that?
He didn't get it either. Oh,
He's like, heard the story before and everything.
Clear.
okay, that's dark.
Optometry.
What's the opt-in?
But I think that like I wasn't really in that position, because I think if you were really in that position, you wouldn't even be thinking about fixing it. People that have really got to that point, like I don't think I ever fully hit the rock bottom.
So it was like the okay, I see.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, to give the credit to it though, even to acknowledge and to see that
Yeah.
is a very dark place. You know what I mean?
But it was a weird thing, because it was like a logical decision. It was like, the world is great and I've got wonderful things happening, but like this thing where like I can't get out of my own head, that's the bit that needs to be fixed.
Yeah. Did you try jacking off?
All the time, honestly, it helps.
Cause that's like my first go-to. If I feel sad and if I jack off,
That's your first go-to.
It's a nice
yeah,
little reset.
and then if I go, oh shit, I'm still sad, something's wrong.
Yikes. Oh shit.
But if I jack off and everything's good, I was like, oh, I was just tripping.
yeah, I was just being emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah, until like the dopamine wears off and you're like, oh shit, this is.
Sometimes you jack off after you bust, you like start feeling really guilty
You're
and so,
aware.
you're just like, what the fuck?
That happens.
Then you do it again, and then like, oh, I was tripping.
And now you're
Rinse and
spending
repeat.
8 hours jacking off in a room,
I think
not
it's
talking to
empowering.
anybody.
Empowering.
I think it's very empowering because you climbed you out of the darkness. It seems like you were like thrown into a well and you're looking up and you're like Bane and you're like, God, what am I gonna do, man? And then you climb up out of this well and then you fucking, you're like the Ginger Grudge. You just come out of that well, right? And then you just
A color
fucking do,
TV
like,
grudge.
Yeah.
Bane to Ginger Grudge.
Grudge, you know? You just do this, and you go, I'm going to London, and then you just fucking
Rewrites,
move with your rolly bag.
I'm gonna land that.
Yeah, Vietnamese.
Bane, Ginger Grud, I go to London.
You're the Vietnamese Bane Ginger
Progression
Grudge.
of those characters.
I like that. I'll take it.
Yeah,
What was your biggest fear? Like, what was so bad about living here for another 65 years? Like, what was like the worst nightmare?
The processes and the places your brain takes you. Like getting obsessive over really dark ideas or thoughts, or like constantly feeling like you're doing things wrong, or you're hurting people, or you're doing bad things. It's like what do you call it? Intrusive thinking, and
Just the conversation that you have with yourself, that bully inside your mind, that just
constantly, and not being able to like shut it up. That I think that because you spend your whole life trapped inside your brain, right? So if that's not a nice place to be, then it doesn't matter how good everything else is. That's like, But I also felt like I did it to myself, because I hadn't always been that way. It was like a very specific period of time where like, I think the lifestyle I had led me to that. Yeah. So I kind of also had that guilt of like, I did this to myself.
Like, I deserve this.
Yeah. But then you pull yourself out, and now look at me.
Yeah.
I'm here with you guys.
Now you're in a hot seat.
Thank you, Bart, for your insightful like jacking off to avoid depression type of things. I think a lot of fans will find that helpful.
It's a good starting test.
Yeah.
It's really
You gotta test always. You know?
It's like the doctor with the fucking rubber triangle, right? Go hit the reflexes first.
Make sure that's working.
Then you can move on to other things.
You can still bust nuts.
But if you're going like this and you're like, whoa, your leg's not kicking.
Yeah.
But now we gotta maybe listen to somebody, try to figure out what's going on.
If you're not kicking, we gotta bring out the stethoscope.
you still need some sort of like mental brain power to get you to the outcome.
Yeah. You gotta make sure some things are working.
Right.
But everything's fixable. Everything. That's what you learn.
What do you feel like you're most talented at, and what do you think you need the most work at?
I think I'm got a good survival instinct. Like I'm very
She's very resourceful.
resourceful. Yeah. What I need the most work at? Communication.
You don't think you're a good communicator?
Hell no, dude!
You know what?
Whoa!
Hey, whoa.
Hey, man!
Safe space, Joe. You don't want to make her Bane again.
Or do you think in like all aspects of communication or on specific topics?
I think that because for so long I was hiding what was going on, that like it's very difficult now to like talk, because you get into a habit, right? So I think I'm getting better. What I do now though, which I think annoys him, is that if I'm annoyed by something, I'll tell him like I'm annoyed, but I don't know why yet. So you have to wait the whole day until I work out why I'm annoyed, and then I'll tell you.
That's great, because he'll process what you said much later too.
So then you guys both
We hit it at the same time.
Right. I'm talking about how she's a bad communicator when you don't answer her till like 2-3 days later.
She's like, I'm annoyed. Okay. Are you ready to? Oh, you're gonna tell me now. Okay.
So the delay kind of works.
This is
Delayed
actually-
receptor, yeah.
We're both delayed.
Delayed processing.
This is why it works.
We were staying at Bart and Gio's one time, and like I was so annoyed with him, right? Do you remember?
Yeah, I
was
remember.
so-
You're crying.
I was crying. You know what he did, right?
I'm pretty stupid though.
What?
What happened?
I don't even know.
Do you remember I was staying at yours and Gio's, and I hadn't been sleeping. Like I was just like, we were traveling a lot. I was just tired, right? So then one day I'm like, I finally get to sleep, right? So I'm sleeping in the morning, and we had made this plan that we were going to film in the morning, right? So he's just sticking to the plan, but I'm asleep. Finally, after like a while.
And I didn't know that she didn't have good sleep.
So I was like knocked out, and then I just feel like the whole bed shake. This man jumps up, opens the curtains, turns on all the lights, right? And starts filming.
Your face, dude.
I feel it. Like, you know that feeling of just like, I can't believe this is happening right now.
Yeah, but he's thinking in his mind, like, this was the plan. This is what we were going to do. We were going to wake up and film. Yeah. So he's sticking to the plan. So it was really hard for me to like, okay, how do I word why this annoyed me? Because I know that I'm the one who's changed the situation, right?
Yeah.
And I haven't communicated to him that so what I'm annoyed at is that he didn't look macro at the whole situation, right? So then he's gone downstairs, I'm in bed, I'm pissed, right? So I text him and I was like, I don't want to talk about this now, but I'm really angry at you. And then we went through the whole day, just the whole day, normal, hung out with them. I think we went for dinner.
And he didn't even know why you were mad?
I was like,
It's a stalemate in your head a little bit.
Yeah.
What did you think at the time?
Oh no, we talked about it midway through.
oh no, we did. We went to that car park.
Well, but before that, so me trying to
Duked it
be
out.
considerate, I made her even more mad because she was like, I didn't fucking sleep, right? And I'm all like, ooh, she probably doesn't want to. She wants like to take a nap or some shit, right? So I was like, so then I just like left her, and then I worked out with Bart and Gio, and I was just like, yeah, she's tired, man. You know, and then she was mad because she wanted to come work out too, but she didn't. So she got left, and then I was like, I didn't know.
Yeah.
And then what I fucked up is I should have checked in and been like, and then just asked. And I wasn't a good communicator because then I just made up the decision that she needs more rest and I'm gonna leave her alone. And that was like neglect rather than like.
Because you just diagnosed it and
I just fucking said, let me just solve it and I'm gonna go work out with Bart and leave
What
her
a
alone.
man.
Yeah. So we went to a car park because we were driving and he was like, we can't finish the day unless you tell me what's wrong. So then we went to a car park and just talked for like an hour about how he woke me up.
And I do wake her up a lot.
Yeah, but it took me like a whole day because I couldn't work out why I was annoyed. Because technically he had done the thing that we'd agreed upon.
So you're technically in the right.
Yeah, but then not.
But I
Right.
He didn't read the room.
Yeah, he didn't read the room. Yeah.
but I
the
think
explanation
that's
of it doesn't
why
feel right either.
we don't fight much because you look at all those pieces before you lash out on me.
Yeah.
I mean, you did get mad at me, but then I didn't feel like you were attacking me. I was like, oh, I fucked up, but what did I do? And then, yeah, we did argue because we're like defending each position, but then it always ends, and I think this is the first relationship where it ends with like a resolve, because
that's huge.
it's always been, every fight that I've had in the past was like, no, you need to understand me, and then why you're wrong, and it was that kind of.
You just glaze over it and there's no resolution.
There isn't, because it usually comes in the form of an accusation or attack that already cuts. So then I'm already at this position of, no, I didn't do anything wrong, you're just being crazy.
I'm gonna tell you why you're wrong.
Yeah. But then the way she approached it was like, I was like, oh, I fucked up, but I have a little pride and we're gonna fight this out. And then later I was like, okay, the fact that she was able to be like, I know you're sticking to the plan, but then I wanted this to be done and you didn't do that. And then the way she laid it out to me, I was like, oh damn, no one's ever like did A to Z for me like that. And that makes a lot of sense. And so you are a good communicator in that sense.
But it takes me a minute. Like, so it took like, that was like early morning and I think it was like late afternoon.
For you to sort it all out.
In the car park?
Car park? Is that how you think I talk?
Was it in the car park?
Car park.
Car park.
He's trying to tell you how to say it.
I know. Oh, is that what's happening? All right, car park.
Maybe it's not that you're a bad communicator, it's just the timeliness of the communication makes the most.
I'm usually the one that pulls you into reality and talk about whatever.
I get caught in my head a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you started off by even saying straight up that you were angry is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, some people don't even do that.
Most people, they're just angry at you already, and then they're already dishing it out versus telling you like, hey, I'm angry. And then, but
Give me
it's
some time.
Yeah, but it's like, cool, I know your feelings, but you're not like physically or like throwing that emotion
You're not taking
on.
it out on
Yeah, you're not taking it out on
They
them.
play the guessing game.
I wanted him to know.
You're not punishing him for it.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm like, if I'm gonna be mad, you're in this with me.
But it's better
You're
than
in
being
this
like,
with me.
nothing.
Yeah.
And passive aggressive.
That's worse. That's worse. That's
Nothing's bothering me. You want water, huh?
What's wrong? Nothing.
Nothing.
No, nothing.
You should know already.
I'm fine.
The real question is, was there makeup sex in the car park?
In the car park, but I think in their house.
Anthony was practicing that in his head the whole time. Car park.
Kapak.
I think we've had sex in a few rooms in your old house.
Nice.
Me and Nick did in your bedroom.
In separate beds.
Hey, it's not about us, dude. You guys were supposed to talk about her.
Oh
We
no.
did. It's fine.
Okay, bring it back to her. If you could be any kind of Asian, what would you be?
Oh, that's a great question.
Oh, Japanese, probably.
Really?
Don't make it about him.
Yeah.
Why?
Cause she already shared some of my DNA.
Yeah, I'm probably like 40% Japanese.
But there's only gonna be like a few generations left.
Fuck. 40%.
It's not like you're sending your kids there anyway, so.
I mean, we could, I guess. The property's cheap.
Okay, if you had a hall pass for any male celebrity, who would it be?
You could fuck them.
Can I? For any male celebrity.
We can't take a shower after because I need to have some of that residual sex.
Cillian Murphy, you know, the Peaky Blinders guy.
Ooh, that's Anthony's too.
That's a great choice.
I would fuck the shit out of him.
Why did so many guys agree?
That's a great show.
I thought you don't like white guys.
That's just what I tell you.
Okay, fine.
Yo, what's one of your? I want to know what's your fashion goal. Like, do you have any more things you want to do in fashion that you haven't yet?
I don't know, because I've been thinking about this a lot, right? Because I don't know if this is going to be like, get me in trouble. If we do have kids, I don't know if that's the industry I want to be in when I'm a mum.
Really? Why?
Yeah. I think the way I was doing it anyway, and the way I was working, it's long hours. You travel a lot, you're going out a lot, it's like a lot of socializing. I don't know if that's the family structure I would want. And that's not like to criticize other people that do it in that way, just how like I grew up. And so I started thinking, like, if we're planning on doing that at some point, do I want to keep pushing down that path and then have to cut it short, or do I start something new that I could do whilst also having kids?
Like work at Jimby.
Apparently. Yeah, that wasn't so much a choice though.
Jimby Liverpool or something?
Yeah, Jimby Liverpool would be good actually.
Or Jimby Wales.
Right, I love Wales, but there's not that many people there.
Yeah, freak Wales.
Yeah.
You know?